Good evening. You're watching the main news on HKIBC. I'm Azam Khan. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. After 3 years, people on both sides of the border are eagerly waiting to cross it without having to go into quarantine. 10 people are jailed for up to 52 months for rioting near the Polytechnic University during the 2019 unrest. And in the United States, a 6-year-old boy is detained for shooting his teacher. After 3 years, Hong Kongers can finally cross the border starting tomorrow without having to undergo quarantine. But they need to prove they are COVID-free. Katrina Lau reports.
3 border checkpoints, Lok Ma Chau, Man Kam To, and Shenzhen Bay Port, will throw open their gates tomorrow morning as cross-border travel resumes. Over 410,000 people from Hong Kong have secured slots to travel to the mainland as of 6 p.m. today. Despite the rush for bookings, Chief Secretary Eric Chan said sufficient slots are available for those who wish to travel north. Depending on the situation, the government may open more crossings and increase the quota, he said. Decorations are already in place at the Futian checkpoint, which links Lok Ma Chau station with Shenzhen to welcome Hong Kongers. The daily quota for travelers going through Lok Ma Chau is 35,000, 10,000 for Shenzhen Bay Port, and 5,000 for Man Kam To. Up to 50,000 mainlanders can travel to Hong Kong each day through the same checkpoints. There are no limits on the number of people who go to the mainland by air and sea, or via the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge. The Hong Kong-Macau Ferry Terminal in Shangguan and the China Ferry Terminal in Tsim Sha Tsui will reopen tomorrow. The Chü Kong Passenger Transport Company will also resume ferry services between Hong Kong and Shekou, while the Cotai Waterjet and Turbojet will ply between Hong Kong and Macau. Negative PCR test results are mandatory to enter the mainland, causing long queues at community testing centers. Up to 100,000 testing slots per day are currently available, and the government is confident that it can meet demand. Officials are also discussing arrangements for 20,000 cross-border students who are expected to return to school in Hong Kong after the Lunar New Year holidays. They will not be considered as part of the daily cross-border quota. Katrina Lau, HKIBC.
Families planning trips to the mainland have been urged to get their children vaccinated against COVID. Hong Kong University pediatrician Mike Kwan said youngsters who have not received a single jab could develop severe complications if they contract the virus. Only 24% of Hong Kong children aged 6 months to 3 years have been vaccinated. Kwan said it takes 2 weeks for the vaccine protection to kick in, so the shots should be taken now if families plan to cross the border for the Lunar New Year holidays. 10 people convicted of rioting during the unrest in 2019 have been given jail terms ranging from 50 to 52 months. The judge said a deterrent sentence was needed, even though the defendants did not play a leading role in clashes with police. Katrina Lau reports.
The district court today jailed 10 people, 3 weeks after they were found guilty of rioting near the Polytechnic University during the 2019 social unrest. Singer Lester Chong was among the defendants, who were aged between 21 and 31. They were arrested on November 18, 2019, when thousands of protesters clashed with the police in Yau Ma Tei, near the university campus. Judge Josiah Lam said although there was no evidence that the defendants had participated in violent acts, their presence at the scene might have encouraged other protesters to act violently. Lam said the defendants did not carry weapons or dangerous objects, but most wore face masks. He jailed them for between 50 and 52 months, saying the harsh sentence would act as a deterrent. Chong said he was willing to take responsibility for his actions and hopes to inspire others with his music after his release. Police welcomed the sentences, saying they reflect the severity of the case. Senior Inspector Poon Song Lai revealed that a total of 213 protesters were arrested on the day of the clashes. All have been charged or are awaiting trial. Katrina Lau, HKIBC.
Mainland billionaire Jack Ma has lost control of his fintech giant, the Ant Group. Ma, who founded the e-commerce titan Alibaba, has a 10% stake in its Ant affiliate, but he had 53% of the voting rights through two investment companies. Ant has added a fifth independent director to its board, diluting Ma's voting rights to 6%. He has kept a low profile since Ant's bid to raise $37 billion in a Hong Kong listing 2 years ago was scrapped at the last minute. Overseas, a 6-year-old boy is in custody after shooting his teacher in the U.S. state of Virginia. Authorities said the incident was not an accident. Police who were called to an elementary school in the U.S. state of Virginia said a 6-year-old boy shot a teacher after an argument. It was not an accidental shooting, officers said. The female teacher, who was in her 30s, was rushed to hospital with serious injuries. Police in the city of Newport News said a single shot was fired from the handgun. It's not known how the pupil got hold of the weapon. Police said it was an isolated incident and other children were not threatened. The boy was taken into custody, but authorities have not revealed further details.
The individual is in custody. We have recovered evidence from the location, but all of those things we will figure out. We did not have a situation where someone was going around the school shooting. We have a situation in one particular location where a gunshot was fired.
Other pupils were taken to the school gymnasium after the incident for counseling before being reunited with their parents. After days of painstaking negotiations and failed votes, Republican Kevin McCarthy was sworn into office as Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives.
With 6 recorded as present. Therefore, the Honorable Kevin McCarthy of the state of California, having received a majority of the votes cast, is duly elected Speaker of the House of Representatives.
After much finger-pointing and tantrums all around, the remaining few holdouts voted present during a historic 15th ballot, which was good enough to secure McCarthy the gavel without needing to reach 218. Hours later, he was sworn into office. The dramatic turn of events came after McCarthy agreed to many of his detractors' demands, including the reinstatement of a rule that would allow a single member to call a vote to oust him from office. Experts say this only adds to the already weakened position McCarthy comes in as leader of the Republican majority in the chamber.
So help you God.
Britain's royal family is continuing to stay silent as startling disclosures by Prince Harry grip the nation. A former officer assigned to protect Harry's mother, Diana, recalled that Prince William had been jealous of his younger brother.
And Harry always knew that he was going to play second fiddle to his brother in later life. You know, there was this extraordinary conversation that I remember on a journey to Highgrove one weekend when Harry would have been about 6, I suppose, or 7. Harry, William a little bit older. And an argument being refereed by the nanny in the back seat, Diana driving. And suddenly, when there was a piece of quiet, you know, Harry leant across and said to William, "It's all right for you, you know, you'll be king one day and I won't, therefore I can do what I want." Now that was 30-odd years ago. And that is exactly now what he is doing.
Harry's claims are made in his autobiography titled Spare. He drifted away from the other royals after accusing them of looking down on his wife, Meghan Markle. In his book, Harry wrote that William had attacked him and claimed he killed 25 Taliban fighters in Afghanistan. Health authorities are warning about the newest COVID variant, XBB.1.5, which is regarded as very contagious.
We think that its R number is quite high. That's the number of people that any one infected person then goes on to infect. And that's an indicator of how well it transmits from person to person. So it does look in the United States and also in the United Kingdom that the proportion of viruses that are XBB.1.5 is increasing faster than are the other variants in the current soup mix.
Apart from the US and Britain, the new variant has been reported in 30 other countries. Experts say people who have already contracted COVID could be reinfected. but deaths and severe infections are expected to be limited in countries with a high vaccination rate. U.S. health officials have approved a breakthrough drug to treat Alzheimer's disease. The medication has shown encouraging results in slowing down the decline in memory and cognition. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved the drug lecanemab for treating Alzheimer's. Marketed under the brand name Leqembi, the medication is co-developed by Japanese pharmaceutical company Eisai and American biotechnology firm Biogen.
Lecanemab is an antibody targeted to the amyloid material that builds up in the brains of patients with Alzheimer's disease. There's a particular type of amyloid called the oligomer that's especially toxic or especially poisonous, and lecanemab is targeted toward that particular most toxic species.
The drug is not a cure, but has shown encouraging results in slowing down the progression of the disease. It is administered intravenously and can be prescribed to patients with mild symptoms in the early stages of detection. But there is a possible side effect of brain swelling or bleeding that comes with the drug. As of now, the drug has received a conditional approval to hit the shelves, provided it helps in the removal of amyloid from the brain. A full approval will come in a later stage, after there's evidence that the drug really slows down cognitive decline. On to the weather now. A few rain patches tomorrow with occasional strong winds on high ground. Temperatures will range between 17 and 20 degrees. The rain will continue until the middle of next week. Now let's take a look at the weather around the world. That's our main news for Saturday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Azam Khan. Good night.